In 2022, Matt Walsh put out a documentary that was relatively controversial. And the name of the documentary was What is a Woman? Where he went around asking a bunch of activists, individuals, various people, just asking for a very simple thing. Give me a definition of what a woman is. Generally, the most given answer was someone who identifies as a woman. That is what a woman is. And whenever he would challenge him due to the circular logic, no one was really coming up with a better answer. Some were kind of vague about it, and it always bothered me watching this when, oh, a woman is someone who identifies as a woman. Well, that's kind of circular logic there. You're not really telling us anything. And the people couldn't come up with anything better. And what really got to me, the people just didn't see how their logic was flawed. And it always makes me thinking, yes, these people get to vote that have no cognitive reasoning skills. But moving on. And some of them try to come up with things like a woman is someone who's able to give birth, has female sex organs, double X chromosomes, things like that, which then just leads to the exceptions to that about what about someone who is born intersex or women who are sterile? Are they still women, or women post-menopause? Are they still women? And I think I've come up with actually a better answer to the question of what is a woman by looking at it with a different approach. And I'm kind of hoping Matt Walsh would somehow get to see this video and get his opinion on whether he agrees with me or not. So time will tell. But I'm going to start off by giving you a story that might give you some insight into the approach I'm going to take with my argument, my reasoning. In late 1959, a gentleman by the name of John Howard Griffin went to a friend's house in New Orleans, Louisiana. Once there, under the care of a dermatologist, Griffin underwent a regime of large oral doses of the drug methocillin, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, and spent up to 15 hours daily under an ultraviolet lamp for about a week. He was given regular blood tests to ensure that he was not suffering from liver damage. The darkening of his skin was not perfect, so he touched it up with stain. He shaved his hair bald to hide his straight brown hair. And he ended up being satisfied that he could pass as an African American. And once he had convinced himself of that, he began a 6-week journey in the South. What he was trying to see is, how did people react to African Americans? Now remember, this is back in late 1959. And then in 1961, he published a book called Black Like Me, which was a recounting of his journey in the deep South of the United States. And at that time, African Americans lived under racial segregation. He traveled for 6 weeks through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, and Georgia to explore life from the other side of the color line. And Griffin wanted to see the difference on how people treated white versus those of color. But would anyone say that Griffin was black? I'm sure if you ask an African American that due to the color of Griffin's skin, his shaved head, and everything else he did, was he then black? And I think they'd say, don't think so. It's just ridiculous even to think such a thing, because being black is much more than skin color. To be black in America, you need that lifetime experience of being black in this country, along with the genetics that make someone black. It's a classic case of you can't judge a book by its cover, Because somebody looks black does not mean they are black. And another one I always like to throw out is Elon Musk. Is he an African American? Born and raised in Africa, moved to Canada, then the United States, an American citizen. Would you say he's an African American? No, because when we use the term African American, we're generally going with people who are descendant from the slaves, who have lived in this country, have that whole history behind them, the experiences of growing up black in this country. That's what makes them African American. For a time, I was chair of the Department of Economics and Business at a small college in Southwest Virginia called Sweetbriar College. And when I showed up there, faculty there made it clear that Sweetbriar was a college for women, not a college for girls. They made a distinction between female, who were girls, and who were women. Interesting thing was, when I talked to the students about this, because I wanted to be politically correct, I didn't want to mistakenly say, "Oh, are you girls ready for class today?" "No." "Are you young? What do you want me to call you?" That's pretty much universal. We're girls who are in college and becoming young women. Our granddaughter recently gave birth. When she gave birth, our daughter calls up my wife and told her that her daughter, my wife's granddaughter, my granddaughter, had given birth. My wife asked what she had. Our daughter said she had a girl. Note, she did not say she had a female or an immature woman. She had a girl. And everyone accepted that as this girl ages, she would eventually transform into a woman. I'm just going to define female here as someone born with two X chromosomes. And I think in the whole sex versus gender debate that everyone agrees with the definition of a female being someone born with two X chromosomes, female genitalia. I don't think there's big debate on that. I think I'm right in saying the following. All girls are females, not all females are girls. And along the same line, all women are females, but not all females are women. Our great-granddaughter is a female and is starting life as a girl who in time will become a woman. But how does this transition take place? I would argue that it's a classic nature versus nurture experience. Yes, the nature is double X chromosomes, female genitalia. And I first want to admit, all individuals have unique experiences. However, all girls have some common experiences that are unique to females, that men, boys, just don't have these experiences. Now, there's no way I can come up with a list of these. I'm a man, and I never had to deal with any of these things. But some possible examples, the patriarchic. We all hear about how men dominate the world. Women hear this. It has to affect them. Hearing this, they may choose to accept it. They may choose to fight it. I'm just saying that it will be an experience to them. The glass ceiling, gender pay gaps, discrimination in some jobs, that first menstrual cycle that they have. How about this one? Someone's a female in society. Society expects them to produce children, which makes the girl wonder, will I be a good mother? And what if I don't want children? What if I cannot have children? How will society look on me? How will I deal with all this stuff? No male will experience any of this. And if you can come up with other examples of experiences girls, females have while growing up, while becoming more mature, put them in the comments. I'd like to hear them. And I'm not saying every girl has experienced each one of these, but they are aware of them. And I'm not saying that every girl has experienced each of these, but they know about them. And this is going to shape who they will become. And this is where the nature and nurture comes in. That nurture is these experiences that uniquely affect girls as they go through their lives. And eventually, these experiences will transform a girl into a woman. When, how long? All I can say is that it's a gradual process. So here would be my definition of a woman. A woman is someone who is born female, spends years as a girl, dealing with all the unique experiences faced by all girls, and slowly becomes a woman. And by this definition, a male cannot become a woman. A male dealing with gender dysphoria can take hormones, have various surgeries, and by all appearances present as a woman. But they are no more an actual woman than John Griffin becoming black because he changed his appearance. Now, I have 4 daughters. I saw the challenges they went through simply because they were born female. And I really think every woman should be insulted when a male who went through various chemical and surgical procedures claims to be a woman, even though they have not lived through the experiences that define what a woman is. It lessens the dignity of all women. You know, my last name is Gutwald in the original German. My family came to this country around 1750, ended up in York County, Pennsylvania. 200 years later, I pop out. And I consider myself an American with German ancestry, not a German. I did not have the experiences of those who were born and raised in Germany. And at my time, it would have been, and the town where my family came from, it would have been in East Germany, that when it was a communist state. They would have lived through that, the falling of the Berlin Wall, and all those things would go together to make up someone who's actually German. When a male is dealing with gender dysphoria says, I feel like I am a woman, how can they know what a woman feels like? What a woman had to go through as a girl, how it shapes who and what she is. Oh, I have these feelings. I think I feel like I'm a woman. What? How can they know how a woman feels? I just don't get it. And take notice, no one seems to ask the question, what is a man? And the same reasoning I used here can be applied to this question. A man is someone born with XY chromosomes who starts life as a boy, experiencing all those things that males have to deal with, and eventually becomes a man. And at the end of the film, Matt Walsh's wife, Alyssa, answers the question of what is a woman? She answered, an adult human female. And all I've done here is added some explanations on what makes that answer correct. So, hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on this question. Please feel free to comment. Make TikTok videos telling me how terrible I am, all that kind of good stuff. Disagree with me. Try to enlighten me. The only thing I ask is just give me some logical arguments on why my ideas are incorrect and how some man who takes hormones, has surgery, can become a woman. And please try to give me an alternative definition of what a woman is. Thank you for watching and have yourself a blessed day.